Well, Jim, what kind of accuracy do you think we're going to get out of this? Bigger cartridge, lightweight, but it is a Tikka.
I can't decide. We've had great luck with the Tikkas, but the cartridge here is one that I just don't know if it's going to do well in such a lightweight platform. If we do better than an inch, I would say it's phenomenal.
Better than an inch. That's your standard.
Well, okay. The cartridge here is 7PRC. And 7PRC is incredibly popular, but it has not been available in Tikka T3X rifles until very, very recently. In fact, this is like basically unobtainium right now. Tikka T3X Superlite in 7PRC. Everybody else jumped on 7PRC as soon as it came out, but Tikka, no. Tikka's part of the Beretta family of companies that's 500 years old, one of the oldest manufacturing companies, like the oldest manufacturing company in the world. And they just move slow on stuff, but they tend to get it right. We've been accused recently of being Tikka fanboys. And, you know, maybe that's fair criticism because they've just performed so well in our reviews that I wanted to give it like the hardest test you could give a Tikka T3X Superlite. Very light rifle in 7PRC that we've just found to be problematic. We've seen more accuracy issues in 7PRC than any other cartridge. I don't think it's inherently something wrong with the design of the cartridge. I think the issue is that manufacturers are cramming big cartridge in tiny little lightweight rifle, saying good luck. And so let's see if it performs. The other thing is the Tikka rifles we've shot we've used a lot of Sako ammo. Same company, Tikka and Sako, right? And so their ammo, their gun, they're gonna make it work well together, and that's a great combination. But they don't make ammo for 7PRC. And so we're gonna see how it shoots with some Federal and Hornady. We'll give you velocities. Throughout this thing, we're gonna be showing groups, but we're gonna give it time to cool, and so we'll stop and talk about some of the interesting things and changes in the Tikkas for this year's manufacture. Wow, that recoil is stiff on that thing.
I would imagine that stock isn't really built to handle recoil.
Holy! So no muzzle brake, and the recoil pad, we'll talk about this, but the Tikka recoil pad leaves a lot to be desired. That was a surprise. I feel like I actually did a pretty decent job shooting there, and we're at 1.37 inches. Not impressive, but common to what we often see with 7PRCs and lightweight rifles. So we're gonna try 2 other loads and see if we can get this thing shooting. I'm not gonna give it a pass. It's gotta shoot sub MOA, even in 7PRC, in order to, you know, be something that we can recommend. In my last video, I hurt somebody's feelings because I said in the Ruger American review that the Ruger American has a much better stock than the Tikka T3X Superlite. And I definitely stand by that. In fact, I think it'd be a little bit tough to defend the Tikka T3X Superlite stock. You look at something like a Bergara, this one's slightly more, there's the Bergara Wilderness Sierra, but you get an adjustable comb. The stock is way more rigid and stiff. It's just a better stock on this than what you get from Tikka. However, this isn't super light. This is a little bit heavier. It's probably adding half a pound to the stock compared to the Tikka. So here's why I say it's so bare bones. I mean, first is the trigger address. When you have a very lightweight rifle, the danger is it's so easy with just the movement of your finger for those crosshairs to be moving as you're pulling the trigger. And so if you can pull back 90 degrees on the trigger, that's less likely to happen. When I grip this, I'm at like a 45, and so I'm coming across that trigger, blading against it, which tends to move the crosshairs as you're going through your trigger squeeze, even if you're trying to do your best. If you try to get in the better form to pull 90 degrees, then you have no grip here, there's nothing. You can get an accessory, change this out to a more vertical grip on the Tikka, which I have not done, but is a worthwhile upgrade for sure. I want to show you something I'm doing to earn a little extra. It's called the free Upside app. You can get it on your app store or get it in the description below, or we'll show a QR code you can use to get it. What it is it's giving you a pretty decent percentage back at restaurants, groceries, and gas stations. There are over 100,000 locations. So you go on the app, you find a deal that you want to claim, and then you go make your purchase, and then you're getting actual cash back to you right through the app. It's kind of tough economic times right now. Everybody's struggling and everything has gotten more expensive. So anything I can do to earn a little extra is pretty cool, and I am definitely checking out Upside for a lot of the restaurants that I already go to, plus some cool ones that I might find. Now, the top Upside earners are getting as much as $300 a month. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description or download Upside and use code BACKFIRE to get an extra 25 cents on your first tank of gas, or scan the QR code to claim this offer. Thanks, Upside. Okay, we're finished with the federal load. The average velocity was 2,885 in a 22-inch barrel, but we weren't happy with the accuracy. Now, we only shot a single 5-shot group, and so statistically, we're gonna have to shoot more groups to really know exactly how that ammo is going to perform in that rifle. However, if it's ever capable of shooting a group that big, I'm not gonna be real excited about it. And so I'm going to move on and try these other loads before we, okay, maybe we're going to go back to that one. Oh, well, I guess at least I know I'm not flinching now. Ooh. That is not good for a Tikka. Ouch. That is terrible performance. Oh, almost the shameful 2 inches. Do we break this thing in a little bit more? I mean, it's only had 10 rounds, whatever, 15 down the pipe now. We are letting it fully cool between these groups. I don't know if we switch to the next load or if we just give it a couple more shots, maybe give it a cleaning.
It's rough, man.
It's rough.
Never seen this with the Tikka before.
Maybe we have been a little bit too optimistic on them.
Yeah, maybe.
But the biggest problem here is the recoil on the Tikka stocks. I'm not hamming it up for the camera, and we shoot thousands of shots a year on all kinds of different rifles. This recoil is not fun at all to shoot. I've diligently trained out my flinch, and so I can shoot accurately even when it's not fun, but it's not enjoyable to shoot a 7 PRC in this rifle. The good news is it's easy to change out the recoil pad. Look when I push the recoil pad. You can see I'm white knuckling this, pushing into it. It just doesn't cushion. It doesn't do anything. And so we have an upgraded one. This is the backstop recoil pad. Whoops, I'm sorry, getting real up close and personal. You can see this one squishes easily. And so it's tuned to the cartridge. So if you order in 7 PRC, you're gonna get a different recoil pad than the other guy that orders for a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's tuned to your rifle. We make it for the Bagara, also have it, of course, for the Tikka. But the biggest change to the Tikka platform is right there. That's why we wanted to do this re-review. It is the threaded muzzle. Now you can put on a suppressor, put on a brake, whatever, and tame the recoil down because it is problematic in this rifle. I feel like I'm going to the dentist here. Like, don't hurt my view of the Tikka. Like if your kid did something bad, you just kind of don't want to know. It's kind of how I feel right now. That one was 2801, and so this is shooting, 80 feet per second slower than the Federal. That's a big deal in the exact same rifle. Ooh, finish shame. That group is over 2 inches right there. I did mention there was one that I didn't have the perfect trigger press on, and that one actually landed in the center of the group. Not good. So we've tried 1, 2, 3 different loads without any promise here. And so we're going to try switching up the rifle here. I'm going to start by putting on a suppressor. Now, in general, depends obviously on the suppressor, but about 35% recoil reduction from your average hunting can, and about 45% with a 4-port muzzle brake. So we're going to try them both. I'm going to try the suppressor first though, because generally when there's a rifle that just isn't shooting, Sometimes we found a suppressor that just kind of quiets all of the vibration a little bit, because it's also adding, you know, a pound on the end of the barrel. So let's see if this thing can tame it. All right, so how we set this rifle up. Because it was a 7 PRC and a light rifle, I wanted to put a little bit more full featured of a scope on there. One that adds a little bit of weight to it, that helps a lot. But also because I feel like the lighter weight scopes are always a compromise. This is the Element Titan 3-18 by 50. If you told me, like, pick a scope well under $1,000 that, like, you feel confident enough you could go shoot out to a mile, just perfect tracking, good glass, everything, under $1,000, I would absolutely take this Element Titan 3-18 by 50. We carry this one, which means I really believe in it, because we had to put money behind it. The Element Titan 3-18 by 50 is awesome. Comes in MOA and mill, but mill's the right answer. I was sold on this thing when I used a 6.5 Creedmoor. We sighted in at 100, and then we went straight to a 1 mile shot, and first round impact at a mile with a 6.5 Creedmoor means that scope had to be absolutely perfect. I've tried a lot of different cheap bipods, and my favorite is the MDT Oryx bipod, another thing that we carry. We tried like the Magpul and a host of others we have in a pile over there, and just didn't quite get the stability that we'd like. This thing is like a rock, and it's plastic, it's inexpensive, and it has the features we need. So that's the one you probably see us using the most on the channel. I'm going to be curious to see how this changes the point of impact with a suppressor on the front too. Probably drop it a few inches. Let's see, we've given it every advantage possible now. We gave it a little meteor scope on that light platform, gave it the suppressor, tried 3 different loads, about all the loads that are available for this cartridge, and we've now shot 5 groups with it, 5-shot groups. If it doesn't perform, there's not much else I can say. So does this meet Tikka's accuracy guarantee? Tikka has an interesting accuracy guarantee. On the thicker profile barrels, the varmint and tactical profiles, they give a 5-shot 1 MOA guarantee. But on the thinner profile barrels, like this and the Superlite, it's only a 3-shot accuracy guarantee. Now, a 3-shot accuracy guarantee means basically nothing, because they're not also saying how many groups are we shooting before one happens to land in 3 inches. Even if a gun's shooting 3 inches on average, eventually you can get 3 to land next to each other. But our first group, no. Then we put on the suppressor. Now we're at 1.1 inches, got close with a suppressor. We shot this, and that is our one group that we have sub MOA. 1.0 is what it's showing, and we get 1.04 for 1 MOA, so barely in. Then this one is slightly over 1 MOA, and then we shot another one just to check, and we really fell apart. So even with the suppressor did tend to tighten up the groups, but even with 3 different loads, it didn't meet the accuracy guarantee that we would want to see. And so I think what we've proven here is that 7 PRC can be a problematic cartridge. And if you're gonna get one, you want one with a little bit thicker barrel, better have a suppressor on it, a little bit more stout of a stock, and it can work well. We've shot a couple 7 PRCs that performed well, but generally cramming it in a light rifle is no good. And what's the review then of the Tikka T3X Superlite? Well, I still say it's probably the rifle to get under $1,000. This doesn't change that, because we've shot dozens of Tikkas in different cartridges that just perform phenomenally. 7 PRC is a little bit of a challenge, and it doesn't mean that this is a perfect rifle. There are definite limitations to it. So we're going to keep investigating. We're going to try a couple new rifles with new manufacturer and see if they can perform and be something for us to talk about and use on the channel. But the cool thing about the Tikkas is this. Even if you have a problem like this, Every stock is compatible. You can upgrade that. You can get a whole ton of pre-fit barrels to switch it out if you get your accuracy. It's $750. Well, a lot of people pay more than that just for a good action to build out a custom rifle on. And so even if the worst happens and you're unhappy with your purchase, well, you still have a very nice premium action that you can then build on and change it into a 270 with a totally different barrel and everything. That is the beauty of the Tikka, but they're not perfect, as we saw today.